Hi, what if planes, trains, and cars simply didn't exist? What would tourism look like without them? In this clip, we will take you through a short history of tourism from the period of industrialization up until today. We will first have a look at the process of urbanization and how this process contributed to the rise of the first tour operators and further rapid developments of tourism until today. Ever since industrialization, modern inventions sped up production processes and economic growth. People searched for lucrative employment opportunities in the cities, whereas some sought to spend leisure time outside of them. But industrialization not only led to significant rural to urban migration, turning peasants into factory workers, it also led to greater separation between home and work. Standardized wages and working hours, or schooling for children. This generally led to a higher standard of living for many people and the emergence of growing middle class. In addition to such socioeconomic changes, we also see technology advancing. The first steamships and trains made traveling both easier and faster. Combining such technological revolutions with growing middle classes resulted in new growth opportunities for tourism. One particular novelty was the development of package tours. In these tours, transport, accommodation, and excursions started to become accessible to a wider public. Thomas Cook was one of the first to offer such tour packages for the non-elite, that is, the working class tourist. Mr. Cook was said to be a man of great morals. His idea behind the new package deals was to offer people an alternative to wasting their wages in the cities on alcohol. Tour packages to seaside resorts in the UK and later to more distant destinations like Paris and World Fairs were just the beginning. Thomas Cook's travel company was instrumental in turning the Alps into a destination, and the building of rail tunnels through these mountainous areas greatly contributed to its potential in the future. At the end of the 19th century, Mr. Cook also introduced the traveler's check, a way to store tourists' money on their travels before credit cards existed. Holidays and traveling for leisure became increasingly popular phenomena. This resulted into an urgency for the tourism sector to respond to these new and growing demands. The idea of more mass offerings of well-organized tours is not that strange if you consider how production processes and economic thinking changed over time. People like Henry Ford brought mass production to the fore, allowing more affordable cars for all from the beginning of the 20th century. Governments started to regulate the economy more since the economic crisis of the 1930s, leading to the rise of the welfare state. To make holidays economically more accessible to the wider public, the costs were reduced by standardization. Like Henry Ford himself once said, "You can have any color you like as long as it's black." And beach holidays in the Mediterranean became the color of that era. But the growing demand for standardized holiday packages didn't last for long. The 70s brought multiple challenges, one of them being the economic crisis, to which deregulation of the economy became introduced as an answer. Post-Fordist thinking also led to more flexibility and customization for a diverse range of consumers. In tourism, not surprisingly, other and more unique destinations and forms of holidays were about to emerge. At the same time, growing public concerns over the environment became part of the discussion. Tourism was seriously considered a contributor to environmental degradation, pollution, and later also to climate change. We have now reached the 21st century. Although concerns over the environmental impacts of tourism have become part of common knowledge, international tourism continues to grow. We hope that you have gained a good understanding by now how tourism has changed since industrialization. Although this recent Eurocentric history knows many more interesting stories to explore. What matters is the idea that tourism today has been subject to rapid social, economic, political, environmental, or technological change that continues as we speak.